Welcome back to OwanaPaedia, your one-stop center for the history of this country. Tony Geoffrey Owana and Herbert Semiano is in charge of operations where you can't see him. But he's there and he's saying, please don't forget to subscribe to OwanaPaedia.
You can't have democracy without Democrats. As we say, you can't have socialism without socialists. First of all, the leadership has to accept the idea of democracy. But more than that, the people must really take over. The people of Uganda must say, this is our country. They must say that. And they must have the power to protect that realization. So I'm very pleased about these committees you are forming. But they have to be genuine people's committees. And let me tell you, it is not a simple thing. One is not doing the people of Uganda a favor to say, this is your country, organize yourself for the purpose of running this country. Nobody is doing them a favor except God. Because the country of Uganda must be run by Ugandans. Who else can run it? And therefore you've got to organize a system which enables the people of Uganda to run their country. This is not what is happening in Africa. Hata kidogo. It's not happening. Sometimes the top leadership come there and they just hijack the country. And now you have African countries which are presided over by a bunch of looters. They loot their own country, and people have come and say, we want to come to liberate you. Well, who are, And then they liberate what they liberate is their coffee, and they liberate their... So the people, you are undergoing a test. We have to free our people so that they can participate in their own development. So destroy their fear, and the fear of the governments of their own governments, because they have governments which are simply dominating them, terrorizing them. We have governments in Africa which are terrorizing the people.
We've just seen Mwalimu Nyerere speaking in his capacity as chairman of the South Commission, which I invite you people to research more about. And now he comes to speak in his capacity as chairman of Chama cha Mapinduzi, the ruling party of Tanzania, up to now. There are many lessons for us here in Uganda in general, and for the national resistance movement and President Yoweri Museveni in particular. After all, Nyerere remains Museveni's idol to the present date. Let's take you back to 1988 in July to get it straight from Mwalimu Julius Nyerere.
I've told leaders, if I've gone round, I don't want too much money from one country, because I want this commission supported by the South, not by one country in the South. And so when one president asked me, how much money do you want? I said, Mr. President, if you give me $1 million, I will not take it. Because that would be too much from one country. So far, the biggest pledge I got was from India, $500,000, and they paid $400,000. And all the highest I've received so far is $400,000. No more than that. And so I've told your president, please, may I have some money, please? And he has promised me some money, so fine. So now that's my hat, one hat. The other hat, I won't talk very much about the other hat. My hat as chairman of Chama cha Mapinduzi. I will not say very much in that one, but let me, this one, tell you a story first of all. Your president doesn't like the idea of, that things called a tribe. I belong to a tiny little tribe. It's a group of refugees. I don't know where we ran from. I think we ran, some of our people must have ran from this part of the world, because I find that I can understand your language or your dialect very easily. So in Tanzania, I belong to a little tribe there. And one of the stories they tell is that once upon a time, the child. So we are a very much male-dominated society. I say once upon a time, it was recognized in society that the child belongs to the mother, because the evidence is very clear. She carries this, and the sign is there, quite clear. She's carrying a baby there. And the baby, eventually, after those 9 months, the baby comes out. So it was quite clear between the male and the female to whom the child belongs. The child belongs to the mother. Quite clear. Now the Kizanaki story goes like this. One day, in one family, the man had gone out. The woman, the mother, had gone out and left the father looking after the baby. The father looking after the baby. And the father was careless. He went out and left the child near the fire. And the child burnt itself. And when he came back, the child had burnt itself. And he was very much afraid that he'll get in real trouble when the mother, the real owner of the child, comes. He'll be in trouble. So he got the child in a safe place in the house and then hid himself away when the mother came. So the mother came, and the father was hiding himself away, not very far, but somewhere. And the mother looked at the child, and the child was burnt. And she began crying. What will I tell him? What will I tell him when he finds that his child has been burnt? And in Kizanaki it says, what will I tell the owner of the child? You see, what will I tell the owner of the child when he comes and finds that his child has been burnt? And the man was there and said, so it's my child, yeah? Yes. So then he went away, and after a few hours he came back. Very big-headed. And he found the child, and found the mother crying, your child has been burnt. I don't know how it got burnt. And she got a thrashing. Yes. She got a good thrashing from the husband for burning his child. And, that's the Kizanaki story. And since then, the child now belongs to the male, not to the female. Huh? That is how the story goes. That's how the story goes. That's how the story goes. Now, I want to talk about democracy a little bit. Eh? Democracy. You can't have democracy without Democrats. As we say, you can't have socialism without socialists. Keep saying, how can you build a socialist society without? But you can't build democracy without Democrats. First of all, the leadership has to accept the idea of democracy. But more than that, the people must really take over. The people of Uganda must say, this is our country. They must say that. And they must have the power to protect that realization. So I'm very pleased about these committees you are forming. But they have to be genuine people's committees. They have to be. And let me tell you, it's not a simple thing. It's not a simple thing. It is very easy for the committee to become, what is it, the county, whatever it is, sub-county. It's very easy for that committee of the sub-county to become the county, to become the people of the county. It's very easy. They will hijack it. So the important thing is not simply the structure on paper, the theoretical structure. We have, you know, on paper, there is no country in the world which is half as democratic as Tanzania. Because we are really very well organized. Our structure of society, we organize 10 houses. 10 houses. Each 10 houses in Tanzania are organized. Because, and this is something we believe firmly. How else, if you don't involve people in their own lives, who else is going to be involved on their behalf? I mean, it's not as if we are being nice to the people or we are doing the people a favor. One is not doing the people of Uganda a favor to say, this is your country, organize yourself for the purpose of running this country. Nobody is doing them a favor except God. Because the country of Uganda must be run by Ugandans. Who else can run it? All of them. And therefore you've got to organize a system which enables the people of Uganda to run their country. This is not what is happening in Africa. Hata kidogo. It's not happening. Sometimes the top leadership come there and they just hijack the country. And now you have African countries which are presided over by a bunch of looters. They loot their own country and so sometimes the trouble is on top. But also, in the countries which are trying, there is a lot of apathy also. And so you will have to fight. I say you've got to fight and see that you have people genuinely who believe in the spread of democracy and go on educating. Go on educating our people. You must go on educating the people in democracy. I mean, it's a new thing you are trying to organize. It's something new, and it hasn't happened in your country. The peasants are very, the peasants can be very skeptical. They can say, hey, we don't trust these people. It's just possible. The peasant can watch you for some time because they may not believe you people. Because they have been fooled for a long time. People have come and say, we want to come to liberate you. Well, who are, and then they liberate what they liberate is their coffee, and they liberate their... So the people, you are undergoing a test. But I wish you well. There is no way in which a poor country, especially this poor African country, can develop without the fullest free participation of the people of Africa. There's no way in which you can develop. Hakuna. How else do you develop this kind of society? We have to free our people so that they can participate in their own development. No? So destroy their fear and the fear of the governments, of their own governments, because they have, they have governments which are simply dominating them, terrorizing them. We have governments in Africa which are terrorizing the people. And we have African people now who have no security. And sometimes, of course, this is organized from the outside, like Mozambique now. How can Mozambique develop? How can that country develop? It can't develop. There's no security. How do you develop without security? Security also is an instrument of development. It's a condition of development. You have to have security inside the country. How else do you develop? So, if you have that, then you can develop. The people can become free. People must be free in order to develop their own country. But only not free, just free. No. Destroy the ignorance of the people. People must have, open up a little little bit. So I'm glad, you people are doing political education, but not simply political education, but ordinary education. Education so that people can be free. Free organizationally, free mentally. Destroy some of the superstitions and some of the ignorances which prevent our people from developing themselves. And also the skills, the tools of development, the instruments of development, because it's not enough to want development. We've got to have the tools of development. So I really do appreciate very much this effort by the new leadership in your country to take development, to put development where it does belong. Where it does belong. In the hands of the people. That's where it belongs. In a free, democratic manner. That's where development. Without it, I don't see how you can develop. How else do you do? You pump development? Are you going to pump development from where? If development does not come from the people, where else can it come? And it can only come from the people if the people will freely join in the development of their own country. Unless, of course, we want to go back to slavery and feudalism and force people to develop, which is not what we are here for. We, the people of Africa, should develop in freedom. And therefore, I say, I do appreciate the structures you are developing. I ask you to persist, because you'll find some disappointment. The people you'll need a long time of education and patience before these structures can really become effective. Thank you.
Chairman of National Resistance Movement, the Chairman of Chama cha Mapinduzi, my colleagues, the ministers, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I have a simple job which has been thrust on me, namely to move a vote of thanks to Mwalimu Julius Nyerere for this wonderful and educative speech this morning. I'm sure the participants in this seminar have benefited a lot from the off-the-cuff, if I may use the word, of the speech by Mwalimu. It was definitely very educative. Particularly so, it comes at a time when the movement here is not only organizing politically, but, as you are saying, trying to wipe out the ignorance of our people. Our movement believes that it's absolutely important that the population should know the facts of obtaining in our country, in Africa, and in the world as a whole. That's when they can meaningfully carry out development. And as you rightly pointed out, in our movement we believe that sometimes people are kept where they are deliberately by the leadership which is not interested in development of Africa. Ignorance is one weapon which has been used by outside forces and internal forces to keep exploitation going on. As I said, I'd like once again to, on behalf of the participants, to thank you very much for this wonderful speech. Thank you very much.
You've seen Nyerere's warning on extreme liberalization and the capacity of the countries of the Northern Hemisphere to frustrate our efforts. I'll give you just one example. Uganda had a deal with Tanzania in which we will supply Tanzania with maize and they will give us transformers for electricity. America passed behind and donated tons and tons of maize free to Tanzania. and the transformers deal died. That's how powerful they can be when you challenge them. The next time we see Nyerere will be at a press conference when he was